Our next member is Thomas Gallagher. And
Thank you, Doug.
give us a little, so warm welcome. So Judy couldn't make it tonight,
No.
but go ahead and give us the background. It sounds like you joined about the same time.
At the same time, 2019 was a good year. Very similar to Doug. I think at that point in time, I'd been with the same company 24 years, and our company was going to get sold, right? And it was kind of an eye-opener for me. It's right, do I really want to be dependent on somebody else? Sale didn't go through, but luckily I had one friend who actually worked for Lifestyle, who I'd been talking to and knew what they were doing. I had another friend that I just happened to call to check on, Jennifer and Miles Dumas, and I was just chit-chatting with her. It's like, oh, I've got to be off work today because we're buying our 8th house today. And I was like, Jennifer can do it. I should be able to do it too. And so I came to the first meeting very much like y'all, then came to the 2-day summer that weekend, and from there joined and had my first house in probably 2-3 months. Most of that was on me. I know we're going to kind of show who I use, but very similar to those folks. Moon made it so easy, right? I joined so that you get the blast, you get the email in, and the deal came through. I reached out to Moon. I was first in the line, and he kind of walked me through every step, as nervous as I was.
Awesome. And you came from no real estate investing experience?
No real estate investing experience at all. I'm a software developer for the most part.
A fellow nerd. Fellow nerd. All right. So you wanted to secure your long-term future. You want to get out of the rat race. What was your why?
Well, like I say, it was why I don't want to be dependent on somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be at that certain age where the company decides they don't need you anymore, and you're dependent, and then you're wondering how you're going to pay your bills.
Right.
It just wasn't worth it. And for the flexibility, I probably a little similar to him. I like to work. I like to stay busy, but I don't like to be dependent. I like to know that my future is secure,
Right.
and my family's future is secure.
And so that's one of our main jobs as a mentor is to really make sure that you keep your why in front of you. We've got the how. The map is there. We've got the how, but you need to know why you're taking this action. So it's awesome that you're that clear on it. Well done. All right. So let's talk about the property. So this is which property? Is this the 8th property?
This was actually my 9th. I have 8 right now. I have sold one since then.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't looking to do any more single family. I had 2 multifamily, but you get the blast. They come in on email, and it's like, man, it's such a good deal. It's right close to where I live. I can't resist. It's just too good. And so I wasn't even looking. Blast came through. I was like, hey, those numbers look pretty darn good. Let me reach out to Moon. And then next thing you know, I've got another one.
Yeah. What's the size in this property? This looks like pretty ideal.
What was that? The size?
The size, like 1,500?
It's a little under. I think it's 1386.
Yeah. So one story.
There's your nerd IT guy, 1386, sir.
That's me. Yes.
It's about 1,500.
Give or take a foot.
Yeah. So you can see the interior. This is awesome. So you can see the interior. It needed a good amount of work. Who knows who was living there and doing that kind of damage. But you didn't keep the fixtures. You just made it look all modern and clean and functional and all that.
Yeah, I thought the new tenants might like it that way.
Yeah, there you go.
Real quick, I have a question because I want to make sure everybody understands this, the new people. How much work did you do physically on that property?
I don't know. I think it was tough. I kind of drove out there. I looked at it. I called Mondell up after, obviously emailed Moon. I mean, I must have spent at least 20 minutes.
Give him a hand because it's not TV shows. You understand? You write a check, you let somebody do all the work, and you make all the money. Every time you lift up a hammer, contractors in this room, you lose money. Let the professionals do it.
Yeah, can you imagine even trying to tackle this on the left? I mean, what a weight is being lifted when you just know somebody's going to take care of that and turn it into something on the right. So that's super powerful. So let's talk about the numbers. So it appraised at $220. You bought it for over $100,000 less at $98,000. Rehab was $65,000. Lender title fees, other costs, third-party fees, $15,000. You captured equity of $41,000, and that was double your.
And I couldn't resist.
Yeah. So sometimes the deal just shows up, and you just end up collecting these properties. So your cash-on-cash return was 5%, but your main thing was going after the equity. You got a return on equity of almost 200%, 172%. Round of applause.
And remember what Del said? You buy stuff 50 cents on the dollar. Is that not 50 cents on the dollar right there? Give him a hand. He's following what Del taught.
So to put it in context, so this is your current portfolio. Your cumulative annual cash flow is over $30,000, and you've added almost $400,000 to your net worth in
That's correct.
in 4 years. Anybody? So very well. That's just amazing. So I know we're getting short on time. So what's next for you? The short-term goals, long-term goals. I recognize that you've got your franchise.
Well, like I say, we had some multifamily deals I was in. I followed Dale's rule. I didn't get it in anymore, but I wanted to buy a franchise so that I could work with my son. So my son's running the franchise. I kind of help out on the weekends. But on top of that, I'm sure there will be at least one single-family deal a year that I'll get tempted and do. But then again, go back and as Del kind of showed the V here, it sounds like it's time for me to get back into some of the multifamily deals. So I'll be doing that over the upcoming year as well.
Very nice, very nice. And the income has given you an option to go start a franchise and
Right.
pursue other.
And work with my son, and it's a blast.
Yeah, very cool. So your team. So this is getting repetitive, I think.
Yeah, you see a lot of these same ones. Obviously, Doug, I would say I called Doug on this deal, but I didn't. He trained me good at the beginning. He was there to answer my questions and make it easy. And, it's almost, you hear it again and again. It's almost cookie cutter, right?
Yeah, and that's not uncommon. I'll hear from the members in the first deal, second deal, and then it kind of fades off, and then they get replaced with a new batch.
Yeah, to your point, I've got my team. I've used Moon on probably 75% of my deals. He makes it so easy. A lot of time he already even has a bid. So I just go get one or two other contractor bids and choose. Like I say, I use Corbett's a lot as well. He's fantastic to work with. I've done most of my deals with First Imperial and Priority. Both make it super easy. You hear about pre-approvals. Well, like I said, I wasn't even looking for a single family. Called Priority up that morning and said, hey, I saw a deal of Moons I like. Can you pre-approve me? Had a pre-approval, I think, in 30 minutes and just moved through it. And, the companies on the vendor list make it easy to do.
That vendor list does make things easy, for sure. So we do have some time for a couple questions. I know that we're a little tight, but any couple questions for, go ahead. Got a microphone over here.
Run, Renee, run.
Is the light green?
Well, we can repeat it. I think you're asking where the properties are located?
I think it's,
Okay, so, they could be anywhere, right? Because as they say, we don't go out to them a lot. Me personally, I live in the Alvin area, and so I try to keep everything within a 30-minute drive if I had to get out to them. But the reality is it's rare that I go out to any property more than once a year.
And another thing I want to bring up to you, we just happen to have some Houston presenters tonight. We have people from Canada buying in Georgia. You can buy across state lines with the program as well. We have people do it all the time. They buy out of state. It's just we happen to have Houston. So I want people watching nationally know that the same process works across state lines. We buy in a lot of different states.
yeah, that was the November case study. If anybody wants to go back and watch that, that was a really powerful case study. Really exemplifies live where you want, buy where it makes sense, build your team there, and you're off to the races. Very good. Another question out there somewhere? Anything online?
One more over there.
I know you said that you found most of these properties from an email blast. Can you just clarify or add some context? These are not like off-market secret deals. These were also on MLS.
No,
or
a
these
lot of them are
before they were on MLS.
off market. If you look at the Lifestyles realtors, they're the ones who send out the blasts, and they have found these deals. A lot of them are through, off-market deals. I mean, there's a few that may be on market, but if you look at, for me, if you've seen the signs that say, we buy ugly houses, we buy cheap houses, a lot of the deals are coming through those types of
Do you
people.
want to tell them, Del, or should I? 80%. So what you're going to find in every city, there's like an old boys network of 5 big guys. We've been here over 30-some years. Who do you think everybody brings the deals to first? Who'd like to be in those pocket deals? We have access to them. You understand that? They'll give us exclusionary rights first to buy stuff, and if we don't want it, then it goes out to market because it would be a bad deal if we didn't want it in the first place. Does that make sense? Who'd rather be in that group? Come this week, and I'll show you how you can be part of that. Does that help you, Del? I just want to make sure. He's like me. He can't sit still. We're the same way. Oh. Yeah, the point is they're not from MLS. That's typically not where we find 90% plus of our deals are off-market deals because of our relationships.
The realtors are out there working really hard to build networks and relationships with wholesalers and whoever else will give them the leads. So you get access to
Really quick, Doug, could you explain to them, because they both work with this realtor named Moon Kim, could you give them a little idea of how good of a realtor Moon Kim is, his experience, that sort of thing? Maybe share a little bit about him?
Okay, so in Houston, there's over 50,000 realtors in Houston. Moon is number 1. So, and he's been number 1 the last 2 years.
He's been in the top 5 for the last 10 years.
Top 5 for the last 10 years. So I like to call him the Elon Musk of realtors in the Houston area because I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows when he really sleeps or anything.
I don't think he does sleep.
Yeah, so he doesn't sleep. So it's like Sasquatch. And I put his picture up there because no one knows what he really looks like, and so he's like Sasquatch. It's like I've heard it. I've heard of him, but I've just never
You
seen
must
him.
have snapped that in the closing, because that's the only place I've ever seen
Yeah,
him.
I think Jeff forced him into it. So, all right.
And that's just one member of our team, and we have lots of agents that do that same thing.
So we've got one more question, and then we're going to have to move on.
I'm kind of noticing that it's about 6 to 8 houses in about 4-year period. Is that kind of the average, or kind of what's typical maybe for the first year of getting involved with Lifestyles Unlimited?
Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of folks and over the last 5 years, and I wouldn't this just happens to be a data point. It's just coincidence. Hind Washington, she's one of the mentors that we have up there. She did 15 homes in 18 months, and she had 2 young children, working full time, married. So it's really up to the individual on how fast you want, and it also depends on how much funds you have to work with. So if you're motivated and your schedule's flexible at work, you got the funds, man, you can blow and go.
Yeah, we had one member get 75 houses in like 2 years. I don't want you to do that because what did Monopoly teach us? After 4 houses, you buy a what? An apartment. You want to get the apartment as quick as you can to buy back your time. But you can do what you want. Every individual is different. You can do both. All right.
Very good. All right, so
Let's give these guys a hand. Thank you so much. Appreciate you giving back.